He has so many victims and he has done this same shtick over and over and over again. Other women reach out to him who are 18 or 19 or 20. He tries to use and abuse them. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of not having had sex with him. Then he
All right, so I hate to do this to you guys, but we're definitely moving from one creep to another. The title of this video says, "The Destiny allegations are nasty." Let's check it out.
threatened to leak non-consensual, illegal recordings of me.
So over the past week, while the world was falling apart, you know, the ice trucks were out, fires were still running rampant, it was freezing weather everywhere. Some big news on the internet kind of flew up underneath the radar. And it involved the internet's most yappiest yapper, Destiny. And I'm not gonna lie, these allegations are pretty damning and they might pack him up for good this time. So this all started on MLK Day / the inauguration day when 2 exposés went out exposing Destiny for some of his wrongdoings and bad behaviors when it came to some of his former collaborators that just so happened to be women. These things involved a lawsuit by somebody in his community by the name of Pixie. And basically what Pixie is claiming is that Destiny befriended her, she befriended Destiny, and through her 19-year-old eyes, she saw Destiny as somebody that was trustworthy. So in some way, shape, form, or fashion, which isn't disclosed in the documentation from what I read, she decided to send Destiny a picture of herself while she was nude. And then Destiny decides to send that picture, that nude picture, to a third party, and that third party plastered that picture all over the internet. Now we
Okay. Listen, here's the lens I want you guys to see this from, because this is the lens I'm looking at it from. If you want to know the direction I'm actually approaching this from, keep in mind that Destiny is the same guy who was fighting toxic masculinity. Destiny's the same guy who was on Fresh and Fit, who they have their own issues and problems, definitely. But he's the same guy on there fighting and championing feminism, being the guy who separates himself from the toxic masculine men. He presents himself like the good guy. And it turns out this man has allegedly been on some Diddy shit. And if you're wondering how bad this actually gets, it gets pretty bad, really bad. I'm talking filming people during certain explicit acts without their consent bad. Right. It's not looking good for Destiny.
Don't know her intent. We don't know why she held this for so long. We don't know what's going on here, but what we do know is Destiny's screenshots do not make him look like a good guy at all. In one of the screenshots, he talks about potentially paying some bills as a way to get in her good graces and hopefully have her mind at ease while she's getting through all this trauma that he caused. Now, he doesn't explicitly say what the trauma is, but this is the claim. He's admitting that it's trauma. Oh, no, Destiny. Now, it's sad to say that this isn't the only time that Destiny has done something like this. He gets multiple accounts brought up against him again and again and again.
Destiny was caught up in a scandal involving a competitive StarCraft 2 player called Blue T, who had tweeted out a photo of his genitals. This was in retaliation for Destiny previously leaking images of her to his friends on Skype, wherein he left.
How does this dude always get caught up in some type of situation where his privates are getting exposed? He's caught on video doing some sus stuff. We know that he goes both ways. There's a video I saw where they were talking about he's obsessed with Grindr, right? Can't stop swiping on Grindr. And then now you have the allegations of him befriending these young women and then blackmailing them and filming them without their consent. Keep in mind, this is the guy who doesn't like the fact that there are people out here who embrace their masculinity, and he believes that's toxic and that women should be able to express themselves and be 304s. Now it makes sense, right? He supports all that hedonistic lifestyle. He supports every bit of that, and it's finally starting to make sense.
Laughed at how, quote unquote, hideous her face was compared to her quote-unquote beautiful body. In 2021, Destiny had a romantic entanglement with a YouTube streamer named Anna Voir. Anna would go on to become known for insisting, often tearfully, that she was actually in a long-term romantic relationship with Destiny, which Destiny denied, painting her as crazy to his audience. It was later revealed that in fact it was actually her the entire time. Anna threatened to post these charged texts to prove that she wasn't crazy and that this was all actually taking place. And in retaliation, Destiny threatened in public to leak her photos if she did so.
If you and I had like or something or traded, like, I'm gonna leak your, and I go, fuck you, if you leak my, I'm gonna leak your, is that like blackmail or is that like abusive? I disagree.
Destiny has a very bad history when it comes to sharing intimate material of people.
So if you guys didn't hear that, he's basically arguing with women who they've filmed stuff or sent stuff back and forth, and he's saying, hey, if you do this and that, I'm going to leak your explicit photos, and threatening people in that way.
People that he is sexually involved with without their consent, and of using the threat of their release to keep people in line. When people speak out about Destiny's misconduct, the responses vary from silence to dismissal to outright threats of exposing their intimate information and media.
Now, it wasn't that long ago that Destiny showed his true colors. Back in 2023, he went through a divorce in which he basically said to the woman that he was getting divorced that if she were to reveal any details of their relationship or anything like that, he would ruin her life. He said that would seem to be threats toward her.
Why do you think that she isn't going to leak or talk shit? Melina will not leak or talk shit about any of this because she knows everything about this makes her look like a fucking satanic demon. She knows that. She's threatened it a million times. Like, I'm going to start leaking everything. Oh, yeah, let's go. Okay, if you really want to, holy because my reputation is already zero in regards to our relationship. Everybody thinks I'm a horrible piece of shit. We want to start leaking shit. We can do it.
And now we see him in less than a year's time with 19-year-old content creator taking private, intimate conversations and photos and other things that were supposed to stay between them. At least that's what she was groomed to believe. And then him distributing them for whatever sick fantasies that he could have. And I don't necessarily want to super give an indictment on Destiny and his sexual endeavors, but just because that's stuff that you may be into doesn't mean that everybody else is into it. You can't
The one question I have when I see a lot of this stuff going on is why is it that a lot of these people we see in the public spotlight are typically into this type of stuff? When I say this type of stuff, I mean, like, what is it about wanting a collection of you smashing a bunch of chicks and you being really, really public and known by millions of people? Yes, people are into whatever they may be into in the bedroom, but having this collection of explicit content, you filming people without their consent, it obviously seems to be something that a lot of public figures are really into. But what's the thought process in that? You're going to get caught. You're eventually going to get caught somehow, some way. And it seems like Destiny does not mind crashing out. I mean, it's to the point now where you have friends of his who are now cutting him off, right? People who I thought what it seemed like were very close to him.
You guys can see the title. I stand behind it. It's not bait. It's not a joke. Destiny's getting canceled, all right? And the reason being this time is that he supposedly had intimate relationship with some women. And what he would do is when he would film intimate moments with these ladies, record them, he would share some of these with other women he was approaching. In one case, he shared it with a 19-year-old e-girl who he had never met in his life, and he was flirting with her and shared videos of himself sleeping with another person without their consent. Essentially, the 19-year-old gets hacked and that stuff goes public. The person who was in the videos finds out, loses her mind, files a lawsuit asking Destiny for a huge sum of money. And then, it comes out thereafter that Destiny apparently had also recorded a lot of other women while they were in his apartments without their consent.
Yeesh, yeesh, yeesh.
So this has kind of gotten bigger and bigger since. We're back. Me specifically, where's Preach? Preach busy, you know what I mean? Out there doing gay shit with his wife. Me, I'm here for you guys right now. I was up in Africa. Now, if you think I'm going to take my time away from my people so I can go spend time on the internet to talk about white on white violence, you are bugging. And if you guys are wondering where Preach is, aside from doing gay shit with his wife, we both agreed that there's only one woman that each of us are going to defend in our lives. For him, it's his wife. For me, it's a streamer named Destiny, and we got to do our job. So this is my responsibility. I'm gonna handle her. Now, some of you guys know, Destiny is a friend of mine. Okay, and you might be confused why I decided to come out dripped out from my friend's cancellation. You know what I'm saying?
If your friends are canceling you, then things are definitely not going well for you at all.
Looking kind of fresh. And again, idiots. This is a fairly serious matter, and people wanted to hear my opinions. And I'll be honest with you, for all the bad things that are happening to Destiny, I don't feel bad. The reason why I don't feel bad, and this might surprise some of you because some of you don't know this, me and Destiny have spoken about his dating behavior for a very long time. We've talked about it on stream, off stream, and I've always been very vocal about the fact that I think he's very dysfunctional with how he handles his dating life,
Right.
with how he prioritizes pleasure over everything else. And I think the root of a lot of these issues in this whole situation is that he prioritizes his own selfish desires over other people's well-being, over what's good for his business and his career. And now it's costing him more. It cost him already some things in the past, and he's always been very much in denial about how it affects him negatively. And now it's costing him even more. And I'm, to this day, not entirely sure if he's ready to really acknowledge the impact it has on him.
Do you think I'm self-destructive?
Yeah. If you engage in hedonism, I would say you're self-destructive. I say the same thing about Destiny. I think he can be self-destructive, and I don't think you would entirely disagree.
So wait,
I completely disagree. I don't think I'm self-destructive at all.
Yeah, I think, you know the saying, too smart for your own good? Destiny fully embodies that. You hear a lot of sayings, and there's certain moments in life where you're like, oh, that's what that means. That's what that means here in this particular situation. Too smart for your own good. And I think there are a lot of lessons here, especially if you're on the outside looking in and you see a lot of these public figures, content creators making what you would think is just a really stupid decision. Should show you that being smart is one thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are wise. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have discipline. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, doesn't matter how talented you are, you will never be able to replace discipline and wisdom for those things, which is why I think a code that you live by, and for me, that's like biblical principles, trying to live by certain biblical principles to an extent. You have Proverbs that really encourage you to be wise and show you the difference between a foolish man and a wise man. Having a code that you live by in life can really benefit you so that your actions don't lead to your own demise. And anybody is vulnerable to that. And you'll be surprised how many people are blind to their own self-destruction. Like in this situation, we see Destiny in.
Oh, hold up. I was actually curious. You don't think that to some degree your hedonism doesn't bite you in the
Nope. I think I have a really good engagement with most of my hobbies. I think I do it pretty well. I think that my mental functioning is very high. I think my career is incredibly successful. There are parts of my life that I can improve, but I think that people look at some of the standard markers for trouble and they, for some reason, project a ton of stuff onto me. But I think I'm living like one of the healthiest, fullest lives that I possibly could be.
Delusion. Healthy life. What about now? Pure, straight, unfiltered delusion coming out of Destiny. I did a whole video actually on Destiny a while back. It was like a video titled When Open Relationships Go Wrong, because I think he's been in mostly open relationships, right? Like he likes to watch he would let his wife sleep with other men, his ex-wife, right? A lot of weird shit. And I said, these type of things never end well. This type of a lifestyle never typically ends well. And here we are right now.
Constantly having poor relationships with women over a long period of time, or in other situations, STDs, different things like that. Eventually that hedonism comes back to bite them in the life. And they also recognize they could have invested that time a lot better.
So wait, what do you ask us about this? Like, what was your idea of this?
Yeah, it's not like I have like 100 kids and 5 million STDs and like...
No, you just constantly... Okay, I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, you might as well... But no, you drop the accusation, go for it. You just constantly what? Say it. No, say it.
End this, right?
No, shut up. Melina, shut up. Let him talk. What do you mean? Constantly what?
Hold.
Anything you do in life that's going to increase like your ability to like have fun or do like crazy stuff or whatever is always going to carry with it like the risk of death, right?
Absolutely.
Like you have no chance of dying by falling out of a plane unless you go skydiving. But that's not an argument. It's never skydiving.
But it is an argument against maybe skydiving 1,000 times if you don't want to die that way.
Right. And that's a very good point. Destiny's arguing, well, I like risky behavior and exposing myself to dangerous relationship situations, toxic environments, toxic women. And in this case, breaking the law, allegedly, is what we see. And we don't know if he's going to face any serious legal trouble for this. And he's trying to downplay it, like saying, well, a little bit of excitement is okay once in a while. And Abba responds back by saying, well, yeah, like going skydiving is cool, but if you do that 100 times, then you're increasing your fatality rate, right? The chances that things can go wrong. That's just a stupid decision.
If you want to skydive 1,000 times, skydive 1,000 times. Like, what's wrong?
By
Damn, what happened to all
probability,
the
like, you're increasing the
self-empowerment
risk
shit
of
that you guys were talking about earlier?
I mean, it just depends on whether or not you want that outcome. If you're saying like, "Oh, I don't want this kind of destructive thing," or "I don't want to end up dying by skydiving," then maybe don't skydive every other day.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining about that. You guys are. If your lifestyle choices are like, damn, I would never want to deal with like a crazy girl or anything.
Because Destiny's been skydiving on Grindr.
Like that, that's totally valid. I think it's totally fine. I accept that that's probably true for most people. But like, I'm okay with the trade-off on that for like all the benefits that I get. I like a lot of people. I like traveling a lot. I like doing drugs. I like my stream shit. That's like super fun for me to be like.
I like smashing a lot of people. And of course, he's talking about women and men there. And then he says, I like doing drugs. And part of me's surprised because I saw this. I said, man, Destiny's going to crash out one day. He lives a very reckless life. I'm surprised that ABBA didn't even see this coming ahead of time.
Like, well, doesn't bad stuff happen sometimes, so you shouldn't do it? That doesn't compute to me. Like, I feel like I'm living a super amazing life, and I feel like there's a lot of shit that happens all the time. I understand it might be a lot for some people, but it seems weird to be like, oh, well, I think that you're like secretly like hurting or damaged inside because of some negative outcomes. Like,
or to others, because I think the main thing with this is you have to think about the activity. The activity involves hurting others. Like even Destiny, as good as he is at what he does, probably could admit he's broken a lot of hearts. He's disappointed a lot of women. He's made a lot of people upset. It's not just how he feels about it. When you involve other people in this kind of pursuit of pleasure, other people get hurt as well. I'll stand by what I said at the beginning. I don't feel bad for Steven whatsoever because he knew what he was getting into. He was brazen about it. When he was warned, when he said, hey, this is a bad idea, this is a bad lifestyle, he said, I don't care. I want to have fun. It's fun for me. That's why I like these mentally ill women. That's why I like doing this stuff. That's why I can't keep my pants. It's because it's fun. Well, I'm like, all right, then. When it inevitably blows up in your face, I'm not going to have no sympathy for you. You can be my friend, my worst enemy. I don't give a if you engage in behavior repeatedly after you're warned, around and find out, and that's what Steven's doing.
All right, that's about it. What I know is happening right now so far with Destiny is he's really not speaking on this situation much at all. I'm assuming because his lawyers are handling a lot, at least they have a lot on their plate with all the different chicks who are coming out accusing him. I mean, this is crazy. This is really turning into some type of Diddy situation for sure.